Okay, well, I basically fell in love with a Jaguar bass that my friend lent me. Dave Miller, his name is. He's the bass player in Fiction, a great band. Absolutely love their music. He lent me his Black Jag probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and I spent 4 or 5 gigs playing with that. Absolutely fell in love with it. The amount of tonal differences you can get through that one guitar, for me as a bass player. I mean, as I said, I like the bottom end more than the treble, and the tonal differences I can get through the active and passive circuit, through the variety of switches that you have on a Jaguar, was really appealing to me, and yeah, basically fell in love with the bass that he lent me. Managed to find, they don't make them anymore, or so I'm told. I think a couple of years ago they stopped making them. The Japanese reissues, that is, and managed to find one on eBay, buy it from eBay for a decent amount of money. But for what it is, I personally think it's a great investment. And yeah, tonally, it can be a bit of a drag because there's, as I say, there's a lot of switches, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. But with as a bass player, for me, tonally, it's the most fun I've had. P-bass, things like that, they're great. They sound great from the get-go, but with the Jag, you've got that little bit of flexibility, and you've got that room to maneuver and craft a sound of your own, which you don't get with a P-bass or a jazz bass or something along those lines. So yeah, that's why I've chosen that. But sometimes I do have to tape the switches up, as we talked about, because things can go wrong and you can knock things. That's a Jaguar. I quite like the muffled bass sound. I don't like too much treble in the way I play. I play a Fender Jaguar, Japanese Fender Jag, with a Marshall compressor pedal. That's straight through that with a Boss tuner, and yeah, less is more really for me as a bass player. I think it's more about what I play rather than how I play it, and I've been alternating between various amplifiers recently, trying to work out the best amp for the album, the best sound for the album. I've been alternating between Ashdowns and Ampegs and Oranges actually, and yeah, I'm sort of just still finding my niche really, I'd say. Well, yeah, technique less so really. I play with the plectrum. I can play with my fingers, but I prefer, certainly with the plain sound, I prefer playing with the plectrum. But just really taking the treble and the middle down on the amplifier. Certain amplifiers, like the Ashdown at the moment that I've been playing with tonight, has subharmonics, so certain things like that, I can bring the bottom end up and make it more lively without giving too much treble or mid-range really. So yeah, I'd say it just simply through EQ really is how I craft my sound really. I'm using a Marshall compressor pedal actually. It's just I think it's an ED1 it's called. It's not expensive, just a standard compressor pedal really. But the thing I found with this particular Jaguar is that my pickups, no matter how much I tweak them, my E string, bottom E string, is always that slightly bit louder than the other strings. So I use a compressor pedal not only to bring the rest of the strings to the same volume as the E, but also to give a bit more warmth to the sound. And regardless of what amp I'm using, it gives me a little bit more control over my sound really. So I've got an SVT head and a 4x10 cab, which I love. It's a classic sound for a bass. I mean, a 4x10 like this, I don't know if you can see it from here, but between a 4x10 and 8x10, either of them give a great sound if you've got a decent Ampeg head. But at the moment we're trying to work out the best sound for our album, essentially. We're recording an album at the moment, and there's such tonal differences between an Ampeg like this or an Ashdown like that, which you obviously can't see, but wonderful amplifiers. And I've been playing a lot with an Orange as well recently, and it's just, at the moment, it's about, really, live is a different thing. You know, most things can recreate a live sound that you want, but when it comes to recording in a studio, you want to be a bit more precise about what the sound you're trying to achieve. And yeah, at the moment I'm just having fun really, trying between the three. Yeah, and at the moment I'm not decided, unfortunately, so